Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to talk about a metal you see pretty much every day, but its story? Well, its story is about to completely change how you see the future.
Okay, let's just dive right into this quote. It's from a veteran electrical engineer, and it perfectly captures the shockwave that's hitting our world right now. See, this guy, he spent his whole life designing power systems for huge factories, the biggest power hogs he ever dealt with. But then, a single AI data center came along, asking for 50 times more power than one of those factories. That one request just rips the curtain back on a shocking new reality about our world's energy needs.
Because what we're seeing here isn't just some simple technical upgrade. No, this is the very beginning of a profound civilization-level shift, and it's all being powered by copper. Today, we're going to uncover exactly why.
To really get this, you have to understand we're not talking about normal, predictable growth. We are talking about a historic tsunami of demand, and it's being powered by three massive, unstoppable engines of change, all firing up at the exact same time.
So, engine number one is the AI revolution. You see all the cool stuff it can do, but behind the curtain, you have these data centers that are basically energy black holes. A single AI training cluster can gobble up 10 to 15 megawatts of power. That is the entire electrical load of a small town. And all of that electricity, from the power plant all the way to the chip, it travels through one thing: copper. In these kinds of high-stakes environments, its stability and efficiency are absolutely non-negotiable.
The second engine? It's the green revolution on wheels, electric vehicles. Now, what's really wild about this is just the sheer scale of the jump. A regular old gas car has about 23 kilograms of copper, but a battery electric vehicle? It needs 83 kilograms. That's over 3.5 times more. And that's before you even think about the charging stations and all the infrastructure, which is another massive and often overlooked copper consumer.
And the third engine, well, this is the biggest one of all: the global energy transition itself. You see, green energy sources are incredibly copper dense. An offshore wind farm, just for example, needs 5 to 7 times more copper per megawatt than a traditional power plant. So why is that? Well, you need tons of copper for the generators inside the turbines, plus a huge web of cables to collect all that decentralized power. We are literally rebuilding the world's operating system around electricity, and copper is its source code.
So, the obvious question is, if demand is exploding, why don't we just mine more? And this, right here, is where the story takes a sharp turn. The brutal reality is that supply is bound by three heavy chains that are incredibly difficult to break. First, we're fighting a law of nature. Think of it like this: the best copper mines were like a glass of really concentrated sugar water. For a century, we've just been sipping the sweet, easy stuff right off the top. Well, now we're left with the diluted water at the bottom. Global ore grades have fallen by 25% in just the last 10 years. That means to get the same pound of copper, we have to move way more earth and burn 50% more energy. It's a terrible feedback loop. We need copper for green energy, but getting that copper is becoming less and less green. Second, we're up against a man-made barrier: time. While AI is creating new demand literally every single month, bringing a new copper mine online is a marathon. On average, it takes nearly 18 years. You've got this whole gauntlet of geological surveys, environmental permits, financing, construction. It creates this terrifying mismatch. Demand is growing exponentially, while supply is moving at a snail's pace.
And the third shackle, this one is geopolitical. See, the raw ore that comes out of the ground, it's not usable. It has to be smelted and refined. And today, nearly half of the world's copper ore has to be sent to one country to get processed: China. By dominating this critical middle step, China has effectively become the world's indispensable toll booth for the very metal that powers our future.
This collision of skyrocketing demand and strangled supply has completely transformed a simple industrial commodity into a central piece in a global power struggle. And by the way, if you're finding this explained are valuable, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to our channel. It really helps us keep making them, and you won't miss out on what we cover next.
So, all of that perfectly sets the stage for our next section. The scramble for copper is no longer just about business deals. No, this is a high-stakes chess match for national security and for the right to lead the 21st century.
On one side, you have China executing this brilliant long-term strategy: lock down the raw materials from other countries, build these insurmountable walls around the processing stage, and then make sure its own domestic industries get first dibs. And on the other side, well, the West has finally woken up to the danger and is now scrambling to respond, using new laws and big subsidies to try and rebuild its own secure, independent supply chains. This is the new great game, and the prize is control over the physical foundation of our future. Okay, so all of this brings up the one final crucial question. If copper is such a huge headache to get, can't we just, use something else? What about aluminum? It's everywhere, it's cheap, and hey, it conducts electricity too.
And this right here illustrates the answer perfectly. The laws of physics, well, they're unforgiving. Think of electricity as traffic. Copper is a smooth, wide 8-lane superhighway. Aluminum? It's more like a bumpy 4-lane road. For the same amount of current, you need a much thicker aluminum wire. And in the tightly packed world of data centers and EVs, there's just no space. Even worse, aluminum oxidizes. That creates resistance where you connect wires, which generates heat and creates a serious fire risk. In these mission-critical applications where failure is simply not an option, copper is the only choice.
So here's the crucial point, the real kicker. Copper has a second superpower. It's not just the best electrical conductor, it's also a phenomenal thermal conductor. It's the material that acts like a firefighter, pulling devastating heat away from AI chips so they can actually work. And this creates a perfect, self-reinforcing loop. Copper's ability to get rid of heat allows for more powerful chips, which demand more electricity, which of course must be delivered through more copper. It is both the firefighter and the fuel line for our entire digital age.
So, from that engineer's initial shock to the unstoppable tsunami of demand, the brutal supply constraints, and the fundamental laws of physics, we've seen why this humble, ancient metal is now at the absolute center of a global struggle for power and progress. The next time you plug something into a wall, you'll know you're connecting to what might just be the most important battlefield of the 21st century.